Hey everyone, and welcome back to the New Adjuster Podcast, Season 4. Very happy to be back with you today, and happy that you are joining us wherever you get your podcasts. If you're new to this podcast, it's all about helping newer adjusters get into the field of adjusting so they are prepared and they learn a few things along the way as they get ready for that first deployment, that first call, and hopefully a big catastrophe where there are claims aplenty for everyone to work. You can find this podcast on any platform where you get podcasts, whether you prefer audio and or video, we're available for you. And again, so thankful that you are joining us again today. As always, we're your hosts. My name is Murphy. I work in the training department here at CNC, and
I'm Kelsey, one of the managers here at CNC. Welcome to the first episode of Season 4, titled, Are You Prepared for the Next Big Storm? Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Without further ado, let's jump right in.
Let's do it. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our questions. We're going to kind of be doing dueling banjos today, asking each other questions, both giving our own thoughts on the topic. So first thing, Kelsey, it has been quieter the last couple of years. We know that. We can obviously tell being in the building, it's a ghost town up here. Everybody working remotely, and that's okay for some people. But what should adjusters, specifically new adjusters that haven't been in the field very long, what should they understand kind of about the cyclical nature of this industry and how it goes?
I mean, honestly, the only thing, well, not the only thing, but the number one thing is you cannot prepare or you cannot control the weather. And that's literally what most of our jobs are. There are daily claims, you work pipe breaks, et cetera, but the weather, there's no controlling that.
Yep.
Most people will say that, and I'm just kidding.
Well, and the thing about it is it feels like we're due, right?
It does.
You know?
I mean, there's been nothing going on at all out there. I mean, hurricanes just passing right on by. There's been, some hailstorms, some tornadoes, which we're coming up on that season.
Yep.
It's springtime.
And flood season, too.
And flood, too.
Yep.
I don't want to hope for events. I don't want to hope for any kind of catastrophe. But in this business, I don't want to say where the money is, but that's where the work is. Yeah. And with as slow as it's been, it's time. We're due for something. And I'm afraid of the fact that because we haven't had anything, it might be a bad season. And I know people say that, every other year, it's got to be 20 named hurricanes this year.
Yep.
But there hasn't been one big enough, bad enough recently. We're due, unfortunately.
Well, and the thing about it, too, is us being due, and it has been a while. The thing that worries me is the amount of people that have gotten out of the industry since there was something big.
That's huge.
And when something big does happen, will there be enough resources? That's why this podcast is so important to us, to try to reach out to those newer adjusters or people trying to get in the industry, because we're going to need people. Not just us, any firm, any carrier, they're going to need people whenever all these claims hit.
Yeah, I mean, being in the IA world as an independent, it's hard to stay in this world when there's nothing going on.
Sure.
People go out and get jobs in different industries. They go work for a carrier partner and work staff. Yep. It's hard to break away from that once you have a comfortable, steady paycheck that's not an IA paycheck. But I don't think that we'll have as big of a problem as you think, that, people coming back to it, only because if something big happens, people are going to flock to it, I think.
The floodgates will open type
people
deal.
are still looking for jobs as IA. I see in these groups online that, where's everyone, finding work at? Is there daily work in this state or this state? People are still out there and looking, and we have a lot of good, great adjusters out in the field that are doing our daily work for us and are just waiting. Every day they're calling, hey, what you got for me? Anything coming in? So it may be an issue that, beefing up staff. I don't think CNC will have that issue, though. We have a lot of loyalists, I will say.
That makes me feel good, though.
Yeah. So for adjusters to stay ready, even when things are quiet, how do they do that?
I mean, look, I say it. I feel like every podcast, you have to keep training. You have to keep learning, because there's always going to be new things, whether it's a new carrier or a new state guideline or protocols, processes, whatever the case may be. You have to stay up to date on that, because that phone call could happen today. It could happen next week, could happen next month. And the difference between those 3 dates could be life-changing when it comes to new things that we have to do, or new softwares, or new vendors that we have to use for contents or drone service, whatever the case may be. So you have to stay trained up. You have to stay prepared. You have to understand what's new, what's coming down the pike, what is going to be required by this carrier. Do you have to do something in a certain amount of days or a certain amount of hours, whether it be first contact or inspecting? All that's going to change, and it seemingly changes all the time. You know, most people think, I always did when I first started, that every carrier did everything the exact same way. That's just not the case, right?
No.
So you have to stay on top of those things. Our field managers, I know, and you know this as well, they still right now host weekly stand-up kind of training meetings every week with the folks working active claims. Now, anybody is welcome to those. They just have to ask to be on them, because they never know if they're going to be the next person that gets the phone call or gets the text or the email saying, hey, we've got a claim in your area. Are you interested? Because if you're not prepared or you're not up to speed, they may go to the next person. Because being that the claims are so few and far between, we have to really stay on top of them. They're more scrutinized, fine-tooth comb. So we have to really be on our A game with a lesser volume of claims. And the fact of the matter is we have to go with the people who are the most ready and the most prepared.
And the ones who have been around during this slow time.
Yep.
And that's not to say that the people who sit in these meetings and they're not getting claims, that you can't get a claim. And I know that's hard to walk away from something when you're getting one claim every month.
Sure.
I know that that's tough, but staying in these meetings, they're like once a week, once every 2 weeks, maybe even once a month. Some of them do. So with that being said, they do them at different times during the day. Just jump on this call. Your name will be remembered when you do that.
Yeah, because when they take roll or a screenshot of who's on there, they're going
They
to say,
take
hey,
roll in
so-and-so.
all these meetings.
Yeah.
They were in this. Have we given them any claims? Oh, no, we haven't. Get him on for the next round. See if he wants any claims. Not only that, though, but I would say, you mentioned staying up to date on things. I would watch, the state of Florida specifically and their, legalities, what they're doing with the statutes for the state of Florida. They change all the time. I follow a couple different news outlets for carriers and for the state in and of itself, because they pass down all of the new laws that they pass in relation to insurance, and stuff changes every day. I would honestly Google, Florida statute insurance, homeowners insurance, whatever, and then find all of the new up-to-date stuff, because I read something yesterday that I did not know happened. Not only that, but different trainings, like you said, but we're all, always collaborating with our carriers as well. So any new carriers that we get, we put up training guidelines, all that kind of stuff. If you have a TPA you work for, I would say go out, talk to them, call them, and say, hey, these carriers that you have, can I get their guidelines just to read through them and be prepared?
Yeah. Because
It's
if
not
anything,
a bad thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, in the claims department, I know you would agree with this. You'd be jumping at the opportunity to be able to provide those to somebody.
Oh, 100%.
Because if that means
if
that
you
they're
want to
gonna,
read these,
go for it.
Please.
Because again, that makes it's not that I don't want that to sound a certain way. Like, please read these. So,
but you have to read them anyway.
Exactly.
But
so why not go ahead and be prepared, be up to date on them? That way,
Right.
when you get the phone call, you're ready to go.
oh yeah, I read this last week.
Yeah. So other than kind of staying on top of guidelines and stuff, let's talk about, you talk about desk, I'll talk about field.
Okay.
What do you think certain adjusters have to have kind of in place right now to be ready to, be prepared in essence?
Honestly, I would say the number one thing you need to do is call our RDL HR department. Call them and say, I want on your roster for something that comes up.
Best in the biz.
The best in the business. No, for real. Call them and say, I want to be on your roster. Call them every other week until we get something that happens, because that's important. They'll remember your name and they'll say, just tell them, I really want to work. Anything that you've got, let me know, whether it's field or desk. With desk, I would say make sure all of your state licenses, especially those coastal states, are up to date. Because if we bring you in with an IA, it's kind of different than carrier, because you'll be expected to have your license already. So make sure you've got your Texas, your Florida, your, North Carolina, all of these states. And it's always a plus to have the bigger states that you don't really think about things happening in. So if there is a deployment, you can be prepared to go to those places. If again, I'm kind of talking about the field too, but you'll still be required to have that to work at the desk.
Yeah.
I'd say also have a computer, make sure it's up and running, have it, ready to go. Software updated, Xactimate, any kind of software that you use for claims, because we've kind of moved models to a more 1099 model for desk. That's something that's kind of new for CNC, and I'm not going to say that that's exactly how we'll work in a storm, but more than likely that's what we're looking forward to is, pay per claim type situation. And being with that, you have to have your own equipment, your computer, whatever. I've found it work. Even our daily folks are doing it like that, and they love it. Yep. But anyway, with that, your equipment, make sure that's ready. If we need you in the office, which we probably will during a CAT, it's empty up here, like Murphy said. We'd be here, just be ready, be prepared, be excited, and be eager and willing to learn about these carriers. We have some excellent carrier partners that we work for, and we expect the best for them. So we want the best coming to work with us.
Yeah. Well, and, to piggyback on that with the field too, the field has to have their equipment in order too, whether that be ladder, Cougar Paws, different measuring tools, their softwares as well, Xactimate, Cotality, what have you. Anything they use to estimate, SimSol, if they're working flood claims, things like that. So anything they can use and update to be ready for that next call, they have to. And I'll even go so much farther with the field too, having those state licenses that are kind of out in the middle, in the Midwest, like your Oklahomas, your Arkansas, your, those states,
Tornado
because hail season is basically here, and it's only going to get a little bit more busy. And not necessarily that you want to limit yourself with coastal states. You want to, be as broad as you can, work as many types of claims as you can. We all know people would most likely prefer to work a hurricane because that's where the huge volume comes. And that's going to be in your coastal states. But for the time being, if you've got those other state licenses, then that only makes you a little bit more prepared and at the top of the list to work for, some of those other types of events. And again, I will also say our RDL department will keep your stuff up to date. They will make sure your licenses are in there, your certifications, so that way when the time comes or the event comes or the daily claims come and they go to filter those lists to see who is eligible, you'll be on that list because you will have kept them up to date with your licenses and such. So
I kind of want to add one more thing to that CNC is going to be shifting platforms from our original claim source to a new claim source. Is it 2.0?
Yeah. CNC.claims.
CNC.claims. And it is going to be something out of this world. All of your certifications for CNC will have to be qualified through there. Your licenses will all be updated there. You can manually do those. Get RDL, the ladies down there, to help you with that. It's going to be such an easy, streamlined process that you're not going to spend all this time waiting to get deployed and doing all this stuff. It's all done on this website and quickly and efficiently.
Yeah. And all the trainings on that website.
Everything is there. Your claim system's there. So you're not only getting certified, your required training's there. Your claims will be found there as well. So you can pick up the claims there. Obviously they're going to be an exact analysis or whatever, system this carrier works in. Symbility, or what's it called now?
Cotality. Yeah.
Sorry. So besides that, Murph, what kind of gear or equipment should the field adjusters be stocking up on in the meantime?
Yeah, I would say iPad. I mean, we have them. We use them all the time. But iPad, camera, if you use your iPad or your iPhone to take your camera, or to take your pictures, I should say. Again, ladder, Cougar Paws, measuring tools, shingle gauge, pitch gauge, you name it. And I'm talking about a lot of roofing stuff here, but there's other events as well when it comes to hail and or flood. Different equipment like that has to be up to date. Again, just like anything else, do a quick check on it. I mean, I do the same thing. When the grass isn't growing, I still go crank the lawnmower. I still make sure the oil's changed, all that kind of stuff, because you have to be prepared for when that grass starts growing like it is now, that lawnmower needs to work, or you're going, it's a long day with a pair of scissors.
I think I need to go crank up the generator just in case.
Hey, you do that as well.
I mean,
you do that as well.
It is almost hurricane
season. During the winter months, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the same for the desk, only we don't have to have physical equipment like that.
Other than like desk equipment.
Than desk equipment. But I will say a lot of people, like we talked about, have gotten out of claims. Mm-hmm. So what I would do, especially in these times that we're in, a lot of deployments are remote. Make sure your workspace is prepared. Make sure you are ready to be able to sit at a desk in a not, not in a coffee shop, but sit at a desk where you can make these phone calls to insureds. Be prepared. Have your whether you use Microsoft systems, make sure all of those licenses are up to date. If you use Xactimate, make sure that your subscription is up to date. That's a huge one because Xactimate, I know Symbility is paid per claim, right?
Yep.
But Xactimate is the yearly or monthly subscription. I would make sure that obviously don't go out and buy it if you don't have any claims, but be prepared to, I'm going to just say this
You can get a demo
bluntly.
version too.
You can get a demo version, but be prepared and have that money saved for that subscription.
That's another big part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. Have that money saved and put aside so okay, the day I get the deployment, I have this, 300, isn't it around that? However
Somewhere
much it
around there,
is.
yeah.
Google how much it is, and then have that saved so okay, I've got that. I don't have to, scramble for it. Not saying that you don't have $300, you're not
Sure.
working, but some people aren't working.
Well,
and
another part of it is too, have some money set aside for when you need that hotel when you go out of town.
100%.
Because
You
that's
gotta
another piece
travel.
that people don't think about. They think, well, I got my equipment. Well, you hadn't got there yet, and you don't even know where you're sleeping yet.
Yeah.
Those have to be taken care of too. So,
So
especially
that's
in a big
good
event.
point. Kind of save up now because if a big event happens, you're going to make it back. You're working.
Yeah.
But just have kind of a nest egg going.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Do you think it will be, for the claims department, I'm speaking to you directly here, do you think it will be easy for you to reach out to people? You kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but people that have recently left or maybe left a year or so ago because there hasn't been a big event, do you think it will be easy to pull them back in when the time comes?
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of people that have left in the last 2 years, I'll say, that I would kill to have back in our department, have back on our claims team, have back at all. I would kill for it. But I get why they couldn't stay. The claims dwindle.
Sure.
And we can't always, I wish to God that didn't, have to be the case in a lot of situations. But I do think that we can get some people back. I know you have to work. People have families. People have obligations. You have to go out there and do what you have to do for your family. But I'm hoping, and I think, I actually just talked to one of our desk adjusters the other day. She called me about a litigated claim that came back because people are still working those files. You get a call, hey, this is so-and-so from the litigation department at this carrier. We have a mediation we need you to attend on a claim that you handled 2 years ago.
Yep.
Okay, great. So she called me and she's like, hey, I got this something from RDL. I've got this mediation I'm attending. I was hoping it was you calling me for a deployment. And I was like, God, I wish I could. I wish you could be here right now. And
Sure,
she said, Kelsey, the moment that you call me, I'm there.
Yeah.
She said, don't think otherwise because CNC is my place. I love it there. And that literally just made me so happy. And I just had a huge smile on my face because that really means a lot to me. And I know it means a lot to CNC that we have people who they get a random phone call about a claim and they're like, oh my God, I hope it's
This
them
is
calling
it.
me.
Yeah.
This is the moment.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think it'll be too hard. It may, at first they'll say, sorry, I got a job. And unless it's like a massive, huge
Right.
Cat
That everybody
5
just kind of
Katrina.
drops everything. Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you answered it that way because, and I want to be very clear about this. It's not just in this building where it's slow. It's
Yeah.
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's not just us. Everybody is slow. People talk about it at these conferences and on webinars, and everybody is experiencing what we are right now. But the thing about it is the people that have left and won't come back, the door opens because there will still be a need for people. The door opens for all the new adjusters.
Yeah.
That's where that new wave of people comes in, and then they latch on, they get good, they get trained up, they work claims, and then they become the next kind of generation, if you will, or the next group of adjusters that really take it from there. So always think about that when it comes to turnover. Like, oh, well, they said a lot of people are leaving the industry. That's a good thing for new
That's
adjusters.
your shoe-in.
Yeah, that is a great thing for new adjusters.
And honestly,
because that means that you move up to the front of the line because there's going to be a need for people and you fit the need. So
I would not balk at new adjusters either. Nope. I would welcome them with open arms because somebody who adjusters, just this one niche group of people have drive that I do not see in any other type of work environment, that they really want this. They go after it. They strive to be the best. They strive to what do you need from me? And it's like, where are these Energizer bunnies coming from? But they're eager to work and they want to work and do a good job. And I've always said I welcome new people to learn this because it's not easy, but we're not doctors, we're not saving lives.
Yeah.
We are keeping people afloat. We are taking care of lives, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So it is an important role. But the new people can come in here, save the day, do a good thing.
Yeah.
And it's a rewarding
Yeah.
Place to work, things to do.
Yep. I agree with that completely too. And the thing about new adjusters is, it was told to me when I first started, I'm sure you were told the same way. If you're new and you don't know anything, that's even better.
I think you told me that.
They can mold you. Stop. Because they can mold you the way they want you to and the way they want you to work claims. Whereas if you've been doing it for a while and you're either rigid or you're stuck in your ways and you say, well, this is the way I've always done it. This is the way I'll continue to do it. It's not always the best thing. So to be able to be a new adjuster and come in on the ground floor and be green, then you get to learn everything from the ground up. It makes you even better because now you are built in the image that IA firm, whether it be CNC or anybody else, wants you to work claims. So
honestly, right now it's been slow. I've gone in and read policies. I've Googled what does this mean in an insurance policy. I know people don't have all that time on their hands, but I've reread the policies for the carriers we work for, reread the best practices. Doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt to know it all.
Yep.
I don't want to say know it all, but the more you know,
the better you are. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and do a cut right there. We've got an ad read for everybody, and then we'll jump into part 2 of today's dueling interview. As always, today's episode is brought to you by Blue Leopard Agency. Marketing shouldn't feel like a guessing game. If you're overwhelmed and looking for a way out of the chaos, Blue Leopard Agency has your back. Escape the marketing jungle, reach your ideal customers, and fuel your business growth with a custom strategy. Get started today at blueleopardagency.com.
All right, so what does the typical timeline look like from storm formation to deployment, and how quickly do adjusters need to be ready?
Yeah, I think it does happen a lot faster than you think it does. The fact of the matter is everybody's got a television, everybody's got the Weather Channel, so everybody can see the same things that we see. It's not like we have some crystal ball, magic ball telling us.
Secret weather source.
Where it's going to come, where it's going to go. Everybody's kind of on the same playing field when it comes to recognizing that there is a storm coming off the coast of Africa, whether it be a wave or it's already formed into something. And your guess is as good as ours where it's going to go. We are scrambling to get prepared just as you are. Now we have CAT plans in place and how things are supposed to go and, how we need to deploy and recruit and get set up and workspaces and all the like. But adjusters need to be doing the same thing. When they see any type of activity, and there's websites that you can look at this.
Spaghetti models.
Yeah, spaghetti models. We have like 19 websites that we all look at, and we're all comparing and sending screenshots and projections, and we don't know. The fact of the matter is nobody knows where these storms, not even the meteorologists. They'll tell you they don't know.
Yeah, they'll have them going here, around and that way.
That's why when you look at those spaghetti models, there's 19 of them, and they're all good. And I keep saying 19, but that's just, they're all going every place. They don't know where they're going. But adjusters need to be ready as soon as they see something like that because the firms are getting ready in the same manner that they are. So adjusters need to make sure equipment's ready, funds set aside, phone on loud, make sure it's not on silent because you don't want to miss the call because we've all heard those adjusters that, RDL calls them, they don't answer, they go to the next person. By the time they get back around to them, they've already filled the deployment roster. So have your phone on loud, be ready to go, be ready to be deployed because, again, it happens way faster than you think it does. And when we see it happening, you should also be tuned in and see it happening as well and know that I got to get ready to go.
And I hope that before all of this, you've already called RDL and said, hey, make sure I'm on your roster. Yep. I want to be on any roster that you have. I have these licenses.
Yep.
That's huge. Making sure that you're prepared before it happens is very important. Yep. Like you said, having all your equipment ready, but also having that mindset ready that you're about to be away from your family for a little bit, especially if you're deploying to another state. Go ahead and prepare your wife, your husband, your kids. Hey, I'm going to be out of town for a little bit, whether that's 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. heck, Irma lasted how long?
Yeah, a
I
long
mean,
time.
we had claims here for a very long time. We had people here for over a year. So I mean, just in case, get your ducks in a row. Get ready.
Yeah.
It's a big thing, but again, calling RDL, getting set up, the new claim source when it comes out, get all your information in there. It's huge. It's very important. Yeah.
Well, because you want to make sure, too, RDL, they're not going to, as soon as they see something, they're not going to go ahead and start filling a roster.
No,
they're going to set a standby roster and then a secondary standby, and they're going to
probably get a text.
Yeah, they're going to tier them out, based on experience, what have you, So make sure that you are ready. And hey, just because you get the phone call that says we're placing you on standby, don't then start making plans and get ready to try. Nobody knows.
That's not a deployment.
Yeah, that's not a deployment. Nobody knows where it's going. You might think, oh, this thing's hitting Miami right in the face, and then it ends up in Texas.
Yeah.
So don't overcommit yourself to, all right, I'm going here. I need to quit my job. Because again,
don't quit your job. Please don't quit your job.
You have to understand. You don't know where it's going. You don't know what day it's hitting, how fast it's going. So you gotta prepare yourself, but in a responsible way.
Yeah, responsibly prepare yourself. Don't quit your job, but be prepared enough to know that if you are working another job and this is something you really want to do, that when the time comes and it's, 2 days before the storm and it's going to Florida regardless of, which part of Florida, if it's a strong enough storm, be prepared that those are some hard choices you're going to have to make. Yeah. It's hard all around, but it is what it is. And, that's something we have to think about as a firm, too, is you guys, your adjusters, you're going to be getting calls from a lot of different firms if you're on all these rosters.
Yep.
We want y'all here. So remember that. Call CNC.
No mistake about it. Well, and we just mentioned a couple of them, but what are some other common mistakes that adjusters make getting ready for their first deployment?
Yeah, some things are bigger than others, but I will say spending money that you don't have. You're spending money before you make it. Oh, I need to go out and buy all this equipment, these harnesses, these, goats, these everything. And you don't need that on day one. Don't spend the money before you make it, because we have had hurricanes that come in and we're like, oh my God, this is a Category 5 massive hurricane, and it go through the least populated area of the state that is possible. And you get, 10 or 15 claims. It's not always a big money maker, and it's not always a big claims maker at that same token. Yeah. So you go out and you do all of this. Be prepared that anything could change by the hour with weather, with hurricanes. So you could immediately think, I feel like we thought this in the past couple of years, maybe the past 5 years, that hurricanes came through and they weren't as we expected. I remember a carrier coming here to CNC and saying, all right, this one's going to be the big one. And then we got like 5 claims off of it. I don't think they were legitimate. Dorian,
It
no legitimate.
Away at the last second, never even made landfall. Yeah.
And we had carriers in the building, all kind of stuff. We were ready to go and just staff, because that kind of thing happens.
Yeah, it does.
I know we talk about being prepared, but you need to also be prepared for the worst at the same time.
Yeah, and be prepared for any slight change.
For sure.
And the thing about it is, too, as a new adjuster, overcommitting yourself can be a huge mistake that you can make.
Oh, yeah.
The first thing you do is you call RDL, and you may have studied and you may have prepared and you may have been through all these training classes, and you tell them, look, I can take 200 claims right out of the gate. Do not make that mistake of drowning yourself immediately, because the fact of the matter is if you overcommit and you take on too much work and you have to give them back, that just doesn't look good and not just for us, but for any firm, any carrier. Don't overcommit yourself and tell them, I can do X, Y, and Z, when really you can only do X. Just be careful with that. They can give you more claims, because claims are going to keep coming in. It's not just the hurricane hits on the 19th and all the claims come in on the 20th, and that's it.
And it's a big bucket that drops.
Right. No, those claims trickle in over time because people had to evacuate. People don't file right away. People don't file until a contractor comes through the neighborhood and says you got wind damage, whatever the case is, or hail damage. So just, again, don't overcommit yourself. Take on what you know you can handle and what you feel comfortable with, especially as a new adjuster. And then as you close those, you start to get more as you push some out the door. So I think that's my biggest mistake that new adjusters can't make, is overcommitting to a certain amount of claims.
Well, at that same token, you're a new adjuster. You need to get out there. and go to these war rooms that, the carriers have. That's huge to meet up with some more experienced, more seasoned adjusters that maybe can help you with your claims. Hey, I'm stuck on this. I do not know what this line item should be. Get with these more experienced adjusters, ask the questions. They're out there. Everybody's out there. I promise you're going to meet 50 other adjusters on your first day. Yep. Get to know somebody, get a mentor, get some help out there. And not only that, but they're probably going to be able to take those 100, 150 claims at the drop of a hat. Maybe you can say, okay, I got 20. I can get those done this time. Maybe I can ride along with this person. Sure. Maybe they'll let me do that and see,
waiting on more potentially.
Exactly. While I'm waiting on more, and just, get that additional hands-on experience from somebody. That I've heard that those war rooms are great information. So wanted to throw that out there. How can adjusters position themselves to actually get called when a storm hits?
Being ready, having the licenses, having the certifications. If a storm hits Louisiana and you don't have a Louisiana license, you won't get called. I mean, that's just the easiest way to put it. Everybody says, well, I'll just wait for an emergency license. Well, those may or may not come.
They may not do it.
They may not do it. And if they do, it won't be right away. It may take weeks for them to issue a state of emergency where they are issuing emergency licenses. A lot of times those things aren't just instantaneous, like you apply and you have it. Sometimes it takes, a couple days or 48 hours, whatever the case is, to get that emergency license. So positioning yourself is very important by having the licenses, having the certifications, having the equipment, being ready to go, be trained up. If you have worked hail for the past 4 years and a hurricane hits, it's a different story. Yeah, you're still looking at roofs and stuff, and wind damage can be easier to see than hail damage is, but you have to be in that flow of working wind claims.
Mindset,
or vice versa, right? If you've only been working pipe break claims, and now you get hurricane claims, and you're like, I'm not really a big fan of getting up on the roof.
Same for you.
If you want to work hurricane claims, you better be prepared to get on a roof, That's just what it takes. So, I feel like those are a bunch of different ways how you can kind of position yourself to be ready for when the first call comes in. I feel confident. I'm ready to go, even as a brand new person.
Well, that for the field for sure, and also for the desk, I would 150% tell you to go out there and look at what wind damage looks like to a roof. Mm-hmm. There has been countless times. You're not just getting a field adjuster's estimate and photos. Okay, this is the coverage decision I'm making, and I'm sending out a letter. You have to know what you're talking about when you're calling an insured.
And field adjusters can't make coverage calls.
They're not making coverage calls. Yeah. They're just showing what they see out of the
damage.
Exactly. And you get the photos, you get the estimate if there is one. Some carriers don't want you to write an estimate until it's reviewed. And but you need to know what you're looking at as well. Don't think, I'm not working in the field, I don't really need to know what the damage looks like. You do 100%. You need to know how to explain it to an insured or their contractor who jumps on the phone and they're like, I have 50,000 wind damage shingles on my roof. Mm-hmm. And no, sir, you don't. This is not wind damage. And this is why. You have to know these things in order to have the educated conversations with the people that you are helping, because that's what we're doing in these times. We are helping people.
Yeah. And this is not some unattainable skill either.
No.
Everybody can do it.
Anybody.
If we can do it, anybody can do it.
No kidding.
Anybody can look at damage, wind damage, hail damage, whatever, and see, okay, this is what it is, this is what it's not. What's legitimate, what's not, what's mechanical wear and tear, what's, peril related.
Yeah.
But even to your point about knowing how to have an educated conversation, if they've got something like a wind damage exclusion on their policy, knowing how to explain that to them or a contractor or a PA, whoever the case might be, that, hey, I understand, yes, you do have legitimate wind damage. However, this policy excludes it based on this exclusion. It was signed on this date for this policy period. Therefore, it excludes all wind damage. Being able to have that conversation, because it's not always the easy conversation of, hey, we're going to pay you this much money and everything's covered. You have to be able to know how to navigate the conversation. You never want to be abrasive. You want to state the facts, no opinions. This is what's covered. This is not what's covered, those types of things. So, again, being prepared there, too.
Now, we've talked about desk and field. So there is another, kind of third option. Well, there's a couple more. I know we're thinking about admin work, too, but there's another adjuster option, too, that we've worked with some of our carriers that's kind of more of a fast-track claims option, where you're pretty much the desk and the field adjuster. where you're talking with the insured, walking them through to tell you about the damages in their home, and you're writing an estimate based off of a phone call.
Yep.
We have some carriers that work claims that way. So be prepared that you may have to, talk to an insured and say, explain this damage and explain it. Is the water stain the size of a dinner plate or a soccer
beach
ball?
or
Something, you know. So there's a lot of different opportunities there. And going back to the admin situation there, that's your foot in the door if you're a brand new adjuster. We need people dispatching claims. We need people invoicing claims. We need assigning of these claims. Dispatching is assigning. But, getting the field adjusters in one area so we can bulk assign them claims in a certain, zip code. So you're not traveling all over the state. You get a bulk assign in one area. We need admins that are good at being, proactive. They know, okay, this adjuster got 50 claims. I can't give him any more until he turns in 25 of those. So that's
or even
really
making sure they stay on top of their claims. Hey, you've got 10 that aren't contacted yet. Being able to reach out and talk to them and be like, hey, what's going on with these? Basically being an auditor from that standpoint.
You've turned in, 2 out of the 50 claims I've given you. What's going on with the other ones? Or, hey, we only got your narrative and your photo report. You haven't submitted any of your estimates. What's going on? Because we see that day in and day out. And honestly, it's troubling sometimes whenever we have adjusters, like Murphy said, that have to turn back in claims. Then we have to reassign those claims to somebody else, and we're going to need a dang good adjuster to take over those reassigned claims because the insureds are probably already mad that their claim got scheduled, canceled, or whatever the case is. It's taking too long. So be prepared. We have adjusters who would say, I'll love to do the cleanup work. And we have good ones that do that. So that's something else that you could have under your belt is willing to do the hard stuff because talking to mad people, it's not always fun.
Yeah, it takes a skill.
It's definitely a skill.
Yeah, it's a skill for sure. Yeah. And you talked about fast track and there's QA, quality review, reviewing estimates as they come in, and those are typically more experienced adjusters, and there's nothing wrong with that. But newer adjusters can work fast track claims. I do a class on that basically every year. And again, too, you have to understand those are low severity claims. Those are, my fence blew over and there's 5 shingles missing. You're not talking about it's down to the slab and you got to write it for, that's not like a fast track claim environment. But those are good ways to get used to writing claims in Xactimate, asking questions, being proactive, getting the documentation you need. As opposed to just saying, do you have roof damage? Yes. You have to be able to get them to what type of roof do you have? What do the shingles look like? Is
it tile?
Right. On the front slope, how many do you see? Those types of things. So absolutely.
What's a slope?
Yeah.
That's what they're going to ask you.
Yeah, they are. The front face of your roof when you look at it from the street. Yeah. With a lot of adjusters waiting for storms, how can someone stand out to their firm, not just here, but any firm? How can they stand out and get kind of pushed to the front of the line that maybe they get that first call?
I say they need to be kind of pushy. They need to call. They need to make their presence known. Yeah. I mean, it's, you can call me one day 2 months ago or send me an email. I have an adjuster who emails me every 2 weeks saying, Kelsey, is there anything open? Do you have it?
No, I'm just kidding.
She knows who she is.
So we've narrowed it down.
Anything open right now? I mean, that is huge to me. For you to stay in contact with me, you have my email address, you have my phone number, you can call me. You're not going to get on my nerves. I would rather you reach out to me and say, especially if I worked with you before and I know who you are, I know your face, I know your voice. That's huge. Like, I want these people who want to be here. And I have people who do reach out to me and say, do y'all have anything right now? So being noticed, going out and getting certifications, whether that's carrier certifications. If you're calling in and say, hey, Carmen, down in RDL, I've worked this carrier, this carrier, this carrier. I'm experienced with Symbility, Xactimate, etc.
Whatever.
Everything that you have done, let them know. They'll add it to your profile. She'll message me and say, hey, Kelsey, I've got this person who's done this, this, and this. Do you have a need for them? Do you need them? We have a great communication, a great system with the RDL department that we know what each other's looking for, and they know if they've got something good. So let them know that you have that something good. Stand out by saying, I've worked with these carriers, and it's not a hard thing to go and see or, to find out what carriers we're working for, property, flood, whatever.
Yeah.
And just say, I've worked with them before on whatever. So, I mean, just call, let us know of, your presence. Don't feel like you're getting on people's nerves.
There's
because
nothing wrong with being a little pushy. And pushy may not be the right word, but there's nothing wrong with being on the forefront of somebody's mind because you reach out to them a bunch.
Yeah.
Like you said, if you send one email 2 months ago and that's it and think I'm on their list.
Way forgotten about you.
Yeah. Well, and it's not even so much that, but think about how many other emails and phone calls and texts have come in from other people too. That one gets lost in the shuffle, but there's nothing wrong with sending one once a week or, twice a week, especially when we really ramp up into hurricane season to be like, hey,
don't forget about me.
I'm ready, because trust me, the folks downstairs, which again are the best in the business, they will remember that name and be like, hey, this person's been all over me. They want to work. Let's put them to work, and that happens.
Yeah.
And it happens.
I promise you're not going to get on anybody's nerves. That's the norm in this business.
Yeah. That recruiting goes both ways.
All right. So, what are firms like CNC looking for right now when they're building their rosters?
I think they're looking for the want to, the initiative, the folks that are experienced, sure, but also the folks that really have a lot of drive to get in the business.
Yes.
If you show that you're serious about it, you're committed to it, you're available. Some people say, "Oh, I'm committed to it," but then they get the phone call and they say, "Well, can I start in, a week because I got to straighten this out and I got to do this first."
Sorry.
I'm not saying you're not ready and I'm not saying you don't want to do it, but I mean, this is a right now business. When things happen, especially in a cat, it's a right now. They can't sit around and say, well, he'll or she will join us in a week on this roster when she's.
No, we can't do that because we have to submit these names to the carriers.
Exactly, because they have to get them qualified and credentials set up.
Systems
and their database and logins and passwords. And it's, and that may sound like a lot of pressure, but it is what it is. Like you said, it's instantaneous. I mean, when they need a name, we got to give them a name.
I'll always remember, you were told when you first got into this business, if you get a phone call, don't tell them no.
Just don't say no.
Don't say no.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's so true because it's instantaneous, bottom line.
Yeah. But I think that's what CNC and a lot of firms are looking for is the folks that can go right now when we need them.
It's so important to just be available.
It'll be a great decision when you say yeah, too. I could speak from experience.
I think so, too. I mean, my first hurricane, not first hurricane because I live in Mobile, Alabama, but my first experience in adjusting was Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Irma. And
back to back.
That was a freaking whirlwind. Let me just tell you.
Yeah.
Like, that was insane. It was fun. It was long hours. It was 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, if not longer than that. And I'm telling you, I made some of the best friendships. Yeah. I made, lifelong friendships from that. But not only that, but the experience that those long days brought to my career has gotten me where I am today from some of those first days being in this building.
Think about it, too. You probably learned 60% of what you know on those first two stops.
Absolutely.
And that may be lowballing it. You learn so much in those first couple deployments, whereas everything after that is a little bit easier and a little bit easier. And yeah, there's a little tweak here.
You build on it. You build on what you know.
I can add that to my repertoire. But everything you learn on those first two deployments really set you up for the long term.
Policy language, how to write a letter. I mean, it's extremely important.
That stuff's like riding a bike. Once you do it so many times, you ain't going to forget it.
Yeah. Being on that first deployment, especially, I'm just going to speak from the desk side because that's what I've worked. But, coming in, having good leadership like we do here at CNC is, they're training you how to do things. They are checking your work behind you and explaining why, hey, this is being changed because of this. But really pay attention to that. Don't think that the managers or the supervisors or the team leads are doing stuff to get onto you. Yeah. They're doing it to teach you, and it's a fast-paced environment. And I promise you, nobody's trying to be mean to you. It's trying to get things right, get it out the door, but you're going to be explained why something was changed. Don't take anything during these times to heart.
Yep.
We want all of the new adjusters to succeed, to be great, and this is the place to do it.
Yep. I would agree with that wholeheartedly.
So what you think if a storm was to hit next week? What are 3 things that every adjuster should immediately do after this episode?
I think in wrapping up and in closing, this is a good way to do it with kind
Yeah.
of our top 3 things that, that adjusters should do after listening to this. Number 1, make sure RDL has heard from you. Make
That's
sure,
it. I
make
feel like
sure
we've
they
harped on that.
Make sure
So
they
true.
have heard from you. Make that phone call. And emails are great.
Sorry,
texts
ladies,
are
they're
great.
coming in.
Yeah.
Coming in hot.
Call them. Let them know, hey, I just heard this episode. I need you to
Yes,
know
tell
I'm
'em.
ready to go. Tell them we sent you type
Yeah.
deal.
Kelsey and Murphy said to call you, so
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing.
That would be the first thing I do is make sure that RDL department, again, whether it be here or somewhere else, because there's a lot of great places to work, make sure they hear from you immediately. Let them know that, hey, I'm interested. I'm ready. That's number 1.
I've got number 2.
Okay, go.
All right. Make sure your licenses are updated.
That was going to be my number 2.
Oh, well,
that was good.
there we go.
That's good. Perfect.
I would make sure to, if it's expired, I know a lot of people have been out of work. They're not renewing their licenses because they have 42 state licenses. I don't even know if you need 42. Anyway, make sure that they are not expired. Update them, go renew it if you need any of the other states renewed, because I think North Carolina maybe renews every March. That's this month. Get it done.
Yep.
And then your state licenses is every 2 years you got to do your CEs. Make sure those CEs are done so you are ready to work. You do not have to wait on those things to come back. Get it done, get it taken care of, get those licenses. Like I said, if it's for a hurricane, make sure it's in all the outer states, the coastal states, get the interior ones too. But that one's huge. Make sure your licenses are up to date.
Yep. And I think number 3 is go learn something this week.
New.
Go learn something new this week. We're right in the middle of kind of getting into hail season, and hurricane season's right around the corner. Learn something new this week. You don't have to master it, but learn it.
Yeah.
Read about it. What is hail damage? What looks like hail damage? I will always point people to our training classes that we have in CNC.claims, which it used to be CNC Pro.
There's still some stuff in CNC.
Yeah. Go learn something new this week and make it a goal of yours. Make it a goal that every week I'm going to take a new class.
Yeah.
What
is wind damage? What is hail damage?
What is wind damage? What's hail damage? How to
Surge
write a
versus
letter.
flood.
Right.
Because that's huge during a hurricane.
Exact analysis walkthrough. Go learn something new this
I
week
love that.
and then next
Yes.
week and the next. And by the time you get that call, you can say, I've gone through this. And that system, CNC.claims, keeps track of all those training classes that you've completed. So when RDL pulls up your profile and they say, well, shoot, they've already taken 14 classes since March
They're ready.
19th when we had this podcast, then it's like hey, they've been on top of it. They've been
They
getting
want
after it.
this.
Right.
That's
So
who
I
they're
would
going to
say
look
those
at
are my 3.
first.
Call them,
Absolutely.
get your stuff up to date, and learn something new, at least something new every week.
Ditto. I agree with it. I love it.
Yep. So,
Same for me.
folks, as always, we appreciate you joining us this week. We will obviously be coming to you with more episodes and more guests. Today was just kind of a me and Kelsey to kick things off. We missed her at the end of last season, but she is back in full force. So we are happy to have her back. We're happy to have you back. Again, thank you as always for joining us. You can find this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, whether you prefer the audio or the video. We're more partial to the video. Feel like you get a little bit more out of it. But again, stay up to date with us. We will be coming to you, every couple weeks with a new podcast and a new episode. We can't wait to really get this thing back rolling for season 4. And thank you, as always, for joining us. And we will see you next time.
Thanks, y'all.